As we continue with our series on godly communication, we talked about the first biblical truth that my communication is best when it is right, in the right balance with God and man. And we needed to love God and love man. As we work through that, we gain strength. Today, we're going to talk about my communication struggles when it is led by the flesh. The Bible says in James chapter 3 and verse 14, "But if ye have bitter envy and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish. For where envy and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work." Often we justify our wrong attitudes. We justify that we get bitter and mad. But we have to understand that there's a truth here that we need to allow ourselves to be guided by the Spirit rather than guided by our flesh. Very powerful words that says, "This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish." If I came to your house and accused you and said, "You've been being earthly, sensual, and devilish," you'd say, No, I've been reading my Bible and I've been praying and I've been trying to be a good person. But if I asked you, have you had anger in the last week? Have you had conflict with others in the last week? Most of us would have to say, probably a little bit. And if that's so, you've been earthly, sensual, and devilish. So we need to recognize that there's no place for that. Our job as a child of God is that we love one another. Our job is to show Christ and have speech that is seasoned in the right way, that is an apple gold and a picture of silver. So, in order to accomplish that, we have to remove the flesh out of the way. It said here that for where envy and strife is, there is confusion and every evil work. That word envying means to have a strong agenda. Today we're going to focus on that agenda. Most of the time, it is that agenda that gets us in trouble. I was sitting and working on my attitude and going through the process as I was growing in the Lord a few years ago. But I was having trouble changing this dynamic. I was having trouble that I didn't want to get mad, I didn't want to get angry, but I still was, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. Heard a pastor preach on bitterness and frustration, and he said it's because you have an expectation that something should happen. That's a strong agenda. See, when you walk into your house, you might have an agenda of how things have to be, how your kids should act, how your wife or how your husband should act. And that's a strong agenda. When you go to work, you have a way that you feel that you should be treated around. I had those expectations of people. And when they didn't fit in my box, guess what happened? I got angry, I got frustrated. And I might have kept it quiet on the outside, but inside I still had turmoil. I still had frustration. That pastor that day said, remove the expectation and you'll remove most anger. See, we have to go into a point where we have no agenda, that we accept whatever people give us. We accept whatever attitude they have. We accept whatever work they're willing to do around us or with us. We accept whatever they're willing to accomplish. See, God's in control. You say, well, I have to get certain things done, and I have to have things a certain way. Why? See, God is in control. God knows the people you're working with, and God knows how He's going to have you accomplish stuff. We have to sit back and be still and know that He is God. So all expectations, all agendas have to be set aside. We have to remove that envy and say, God, I will accept whatever you give me today. I will accept how people treat me today. I'll accept whatever spirit people are in. If we'll adjust our mind frame and and accept people for who they are, not for who we want them to be, we'll get along with them and have much better communication.